Taylor Knox and Rodrigo Dornales turned things around as they moved up the point with the tide dropping, and it started to pay off. Saw some bigger scores and a couple big tubes. Of course, Rodrigo Dornales coming away with the narrow victory over Knox. All right, next up was a battle between Timmy Reyes and Benny Bourgeois, two of the nicest kids on tour, of course. Benny Bourgeois got off to a decent start, but ended up breaking his board early on, which cost him. Ended up with Timmy Reyes sitting out the back in time to pick off this 8.0 at Cloudbreak. The tide moved out, there was a couple great showdowns back-to-back, starting off with Poncho Sullivan and Danny Wills. Poncho and Danny locked in a big battle towards the end. Of course, Poncho had Danny Wills comboed early on, a couple big moves. Danny came back late in the running and made it interesting. Poncho coming away with a narrow victory at the end of the day. Then it was the Battle of the Neves. Dan Neve versus Leonardo Neves of Brazil. And these guys traded leads 3 or 4 times in this heat. And this one sewed it up moving into round 3. Then this one was interesting. France's Mickey Picone jumping out to an early lead versus Bruce Irons. Mickey with a 7 and a 9 right out of the gate. Beautiful surfing from the Frenchman. He had Bruce rattled early on, but of course Bruce came back in the late going with a 9-point ride, and with just 2 minutes left to go, all Bruce needed was a 6. Unfortunately for Bruce, he couldn't pull it and he was knocked out here in round 2. In the last heat of round 2, it was Jay Bottle Thompson taking out Neko Paderat with a strong backhand performance, looking loose and lanky, very Parko-esque from the young Australian. So with round 2 in the books, it was on to round 3, and we got the first 4 heats of round 3 underway today. Here's how it went. Kicking things off in round 3 was Giant Killer B. Durbridge from Australia versus South African upstart Royden Bryson. And Bryson had a tough time getting anything going in this heat, failing to get anything above a 4. Meanwhile, B. Durbridge continued his winning ways with a 7.83 and a 6.50 to take the heat and move into round 4. After that, it was Luke Stedman versus Mickey Picone. Picone had a great second round heat, but somehow must have peaked because he lost all his momentum in the round 3 heat. Again, another surfer failing to come up with anything decent in the scoring column. 3.67 was his highest score, while Luke Stedman came away with a 6.83 and a nice 5.67 to pull through with a 12.50 total score. In heat number 3 of round 3, things did start to heat up between O'Neill teammates Roy Powers and Timmy Reyes. Powers started out early with a bang, 5.83, but Timmy Reyes clawed his way back. Toward the end of the heat, he ended up with a pair of 8s that saw him through to round 4. Powers heading home. But by far the biggest and best heat of the late afternoon was Tiago Perez versus Taj Burrow, and this one was a seesaw battle. Tiago Perez coming out early with a 9.67, taking the lead over Burrow. who answered with a 10-point ride, the best score of the day in the afternoon with a gigantic barrel, pushing him through to round 4, and Burrow escapes elimination again.
It was good fun. It felt pretty good. I haven't had a 10 in a while. It's pretty hard to get one these days, so I might have thrown out a little claim, but I just couldn't help it. It felt really good. I was just locked in. I thought there wasn't a chance for a bit, and then I kept going and going, and then there was this opening and just shot me through, so it felt awesome. I'm stoked.
And in the final heat of the afternoon, it was Bobby Martinez versus Brazilian Heitor Alves. Martinez actually led this one from wire to wire, starting off strong with a 6.50. Alves did answer back, but Martinez closed the door with a giant 8.0 at the end. And on a side note, for the Freestyle 2-time award, things certainly heated up here at Cloudbreak. Some big caverns out there. Of course, none of them quite as long as what we saw yesterday at restaurants, and certainly there are things we can consider, with Mick Fanning probably in the lead right now at restaurants with a long barrel yesterday. Of course, Kelly Slater had a pair of them. And local favorite Issei Takoyu had a big long bomb, so all these guys in contention for the $2,000 Freestyle 2-time award. So it was a very eventful day too, and as you can see, lots going on here at the Globe Pro Fiji. Stay tuned. Forecast still looks very good for tomorrow out of Cloudbreak, where we expect a lot more of the same.